everybody. Hi. Are you excited?
Yes.
Are you informed?
Yes.
Are you happy?
Yes.
Now this is what you say, I am. Are you happy?
I am.
Are you excited?
I am.
Are you energized?
I am.
Are you excited about being at JCC?
I
Are you happy to be at the convention?
am.
Are you happy I'm here?
I am.
You may take your seats. I'm excited about being here. Thank you, Reverend Kathy, for having me yet again. It's been 8 years now since I have been a part of this convention, and it's truly amazing how time just passes by. And I'm excited about sharing myself with you. That message was very powerful, Pastor Kathy, and I thank you for sharing yourself. As I listened to that message, I thought about myself, and I figured out, do I know my identity? And I must say that I do know my identity. I'm a child of the heavenly princess. I am created in the image of God? And I am a perfect being where God is concerned. What can I say if Sean, with all that disability, feels complete and feels perfect? It is just to look at yourself and really say, I am truly marvelous. You're so many things, but I must admit that it's not always really easy to just know I'm good. I know my identity. I'm perfect. And I must admit that year after year, I struggled with who I am. I struggled. I didn't come from that fantastic family I would have loved to come from. I didn't have that beautiful image that I would have wanted. I didn't have the complexion that I needed. In those days, you needed to look like Terry Mungai to be referred to as beautiful. My mother wore ambi all the time so that she could be lighter. I was too dark. My hair was kinky. And those in school had a way of having silk hair. And my hair was so kinky. Amazing. Thanks to Lupita that I now can wear my hair like this. And still say, I am beautiful. It takes the mind really to come to the level of acceptance of who you really are. And I kept looking at myself in the mirror, and there were so many things I could have done differently. But guess what? I love who I am, because this is the best that I can be. If you don't like it, too bad for you. If you like it, good for you. And so we're going to walk on a journey. And I want to thank Pastor Kathy for giving me this privilege and honor, even for being a part of DOZ. And you know where I come from. You don't speak after the man or woman of God is finished. And so I come with a lot of humility to speak after the woman of God and say thank you. And so give her a mighty hand clap. Pastor Kathy is my friend, but I think one of the things I must say about her is that she has no insecurities, she has no fears, she's not intimidated, and she always believes that there is a place for all of us. All of us. And that is how DOZ has continued to grow and JCC has continued to grow. And so thank you very much. So each one of you who is here, hip hip, hip hip, you've done the right thing, and you will never be the same again. After we are done with you today, you're going to go to the next level because you truly have no choice. My name is Jennifer Karina. I love the Lord as my personal savior. I am blessed, and I am an author of Marriage Built to Last. But that doesn't define me. I have authored these 2 books. Pastor Kathy is still waiting for others. But I mentored my daughter, and I pride at that. Because you mentored me, I have mentored many others, and many books are coming. But I mentored Rina, and she's written a book on money, how to create, grow, and preserve wealth. Rina, are you here? Not yet. Shiro, I can see you. I have a daughter called Shiro. She's here. Shiro is she's nurturing moms, and she's a doula and a childbirth educator. And so you want to have a baby the right way. You want to know about pregnancy and health. Shiro is the one that does that. And so I bring you greetings from my beloved husband, Mr. Bob Karina. You see him right there? Says, tell the girls I said hello, and I will come and visit with them sometime. He's been here. He said a word to you. And I almost came with him, actually. Then I thought, well, we don't have very much time today. We'll do it when we have time. Now, I'd like to pose a question as we begin this time together. And the question that I would like to pose to you is on the screen. What are the hindrances of healthy and vibrant relationships? Just talk to your neighbor and then ask, what would make you really happy and feel fulfilled in life? What would make you really happy and feel fulfilled in life? All right? And so you're going to, because of time, you're going to talk about that in your break time, and you'll tell me about it maybe later when we come back this afternoon. Is that okay? Great. Pastor Susan, or Minister Susan, what would make you really happy? What would make you really happy? Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Thank you so much, Madam Jenny. Mom has touched on a very important subject about knowing who you are. I've searched and I've realized that money, fame, what I really want to be, can never really satisfy me. But knowing who I am in Christ, that is all that I'm searching for, and that is what can make me whole.
Thank you, Minister Susan. You really have got it. So let's talk about that during our break time and find it. Now, a survey was done at Harvard Business School, and they were trying to find out from the millennials, those are the girls just like yourselves and young men. And according to this survey that was carried out on happiness with the millennial generation, 65% of the respondents said that what would really make them happy was lots of money, being famous, and having a dream job. That was what was important to these young people at that time. Lots of money, being famous, and yes, having a dream job. And that's a good place to be. And a very good place to be as a young person, because you are pursuing what the world can offer you in terms of wealth, in terms of success, and you define it in the manner that you choose to. Basically, I am just going to add on to the wealth and the richness of the message of identity. And I just would want to say to you that our influences, we have a couple of influences that truly affect the way that we are able to relate with ourselves and significant others. And these influences are mental, they are physical, they are social, they are environmental, they are spiritual, And we're going to look at them as we go along, and a few of them. But for now, I want to say that mental influence plays a major impact on our lives and on who we all are. And as we deal with our mental influences, it begins with our families of origin. Where did you come from? You had a father, you had a mother, you had a brother, a sister, an auntie, an uncle, people that have been significant in your lives. When we begin our life journey, based on the environment that is given to us by the people that nurture us. A young man called Erik Erikson has done a lot of studies in developmental theories. And according to Erikson, he cites a couple of things that happens to young developmental stages when you're growing up that affect you in your adulthood. And many times what we do not know is that why we behave the way we do sometimes is not because we are not trying hard enough. It's because of our impact as we grew up. As you were conceived in your mother's womb, you had voices. You had shouts. You had quarrels. A baby, we know that a baby's moods is affected in their womb. They wake up, they have colic. You are wondering, the babies are crying day in and day out. You cannot sleep. This baby cries all the time. What you do not know is that the influences that affected that baby began a long time ago when the baby was still in the womb. According to Erikson, when the baby is just about 6 months to about a year, the baby goes through a stage of trust and mistrust. Can I trust the world? Can I not trust the world? We just went traveling with my daughters, and I said, as I do the training, come and enjoy holiday with mommy. And my daughter had a 9-month baby and was wondering, what am I going to do with Lusajo? How will he behave in my absence? What will he think if I leave him? And she was really struggling. So she just wanted to come for 3 days and return to her baby. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. A child of that age sometimes goes through mistrust. Why? My mommy left me. My mommy leaves me. And when they come back, they start misbehaving if that child does not feel secure. Now, what is very important for us as mothers and those that are going to be nurturing mothers is to know that if you want to have good identity for your children and your grandchildren, it does not start here. It starts with the unborn child. Are we talking? Now, what Erikson says is as this child grows and now becomes a little older, and I'll take it a little, there are 6-7 stages, but I'll talk only about 3 stages that do affect us as we are here. When this child grows, and this child comes to the level of a teenager, you start asking, my teenage children are misbehaving. My teenagers are not behaving the way they should. Why not? This is simply what the theorists have come up with. And theories can be challenged. Theories are not truth. We always challenge theories. We agree with some and we don't agree with others. But I personally resonate with Erik Erikson's work because it reflected exactly what I have seen in my life and in the life of those that I have interacted with. And Erikson would say, at that age, a child goes through identity versus confusion. And that's when the child wants to know, who am I? Who's my father? Who's my mother? Who am I really? Am I beautiful? And those are the stages that we continually begin to be formed as our identity. You think you're going through an identity crisis? It didn't begin now. It began possibly when you were a teenager. I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all? And it was certainly not me. It affected my self-image. Are we together? Now, what happens is that when you want to know who you are at that time, the people that affirm you are called parents. If you have not had parental affirmation as you are growing up, it affects your identity. And it brings confusion. I'm raising a young man, a man that I would call him a man now because he celebrated his 19th birthday and is now walking into his 20th. He's a son of a sister of mine who decided she wasn't keen on raising a child and decided to donate him to me. And so I began parenting all over again. My children had finished their school, but I have raised this young man now for the last 11 years. And I can tell you, I have done everything I know to raise a fine man. But he just doesn't want me. He wants his mother. I have taken him for counseling. I have taken him for therapy. I have taken him to psychologists. I have said, I need this man functioning. And he went through a mother separation anxiety. His mother said, I'm coming home, but you stay with Auntie Jenny. In 3 months, I'm coming. 3 months turned to 6 months, turned to 1 year, turned to 10 years, and Mommy never came home. And I can tell you, I have given him everything in terms of material, in terms of emotional support, and the young man has simply refused to adapt in my environment. It drove me crazy, I can tell you. It drove me crazy. I was ready to put him on the flight back home. But what such things do for me is give me desire for such of knowledge. I have to know how I can deal with this challenge. I have to get it right. I need to know what I need to do to make this man whole. And I can tell you, I have studied extensively on those subjects, and now I want to tell you, sometimes there's nothing you can do. When you get it wrong, there is nothing you can do. But there's a saving grace that we are going to talk about later. So when you abandon your children, when you have babies and you're not ready for babies and you give them up to your mothers to raise them, believe me, you are losing out on the most important thing in life, because there are things that are not transferable. And this is only one thing. Who am I? And the young man told me, I want you, Auntie Jenny, to take me to the hospital that I was born. I want to see where I grew up. And I said, sure, I'll be glad to do that. My teacher asked me to draw the family tree. How am I going to draw that? Do you hear me? You take away something that can never be given to a child. I said to this young man, we are your parents. Anyone that asks you, we are your parents, you've got your grandfather, you've got everybody, just put it together. But it didn't work. We can adapt you legally so that you don't have to search, who's my father, where is my mother, and you don't have to answer those questions. I tell you, I'm not giving you a story of a princess out there. I'm telling you about me. Shiro is looking at me with a lot of pity, and I can see, because she knows about the struggles I have had. Now, when a child goes through rejection, parental rejection, and comes and finds a daughter of Zion and says, baby, be my girl, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because this child has to deal with their rejection before they can deal with accepting you. Are we together? Now, Erik Erikson, you want to look him up. You want to read about these psychosocial stages of development. Knowledge is power. The Bible is very clear. Our people perish for lack of knowledge. But when you have knowledge, you have power. And you can tap into that. Are we together? Our families of origin are absolutely very important. Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Did you grow up in a perfect family? Lucky you. I grew up in a family that fought all the time. I was beaten as a young woman and senseless. It took me a while to know that I am not going to resolve my challenges with my children by beating, because that's all I knew. I beat them. I beat them because that's all I knew to do. If you're mad, you whip. You take the beating, you whip. Until I knew that it causes psychological damage to these people. So where do you come from? Are you going to carry your lineage into your future? Or are you coming to the level of saying, I ain't going to take it on, and I have to recognize? It's all about mental awareness. Families of origin, some of the families we come from, have psychological disorders, have mental illnesses. Major, medium, or low influences on mental health. If you have a genetic from a mental health gene, you can be searching for your identity all your life. What you need to do is seek medical attention. Am I talking to somebody? You know, I just want to make it real. And I just want to say that there are some issues that are real. So as we come to the Lord in prayer, even for deliverance, and even as we learn to find our identity, we need to know what is our family of origin. And what could some of the pitfalls be as we grew up? It is not wrong to have a challenge. What is wrong is not to recognize it and deal with it. It is not wrong to come from a dysfunctional home. What is wrong is to continue the lineage of the dysfunctionality. It is not wrong to live a life for years after years without discovering yourself or your identity. But what is wrong is going to the grave without ever knowing who you are. This is your opportunity. It doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is where you want to go. Are we together? This little girl, at the age of 17, looked up and said, I'm done. These parents don't make me happy. This home ain't good enough. Doesn't matter that my father had a good home, I had a good bed, I had good food, I had good things. But the one thing I knew is I needed to find me somebody who can get me out of this bondage. So I thought. And so I hit the streets of Nairobi and I found this drop-dead gorgeous man. And I just knew going forward, I was sorted. I was? Now, I had a challenge in my father's and mother's house. In my husband's house, I simply jumped from the frying pan into the fire. Oops, I found myself. And I thought, I was looking for happiness. I was looking for a sense of belonging. I was looking for love. I was looking for acceptance. I was looking for everything that I didn't find. And I'm still there 40 years later. But today we are not talking about how I am there 40 years later. Today we are talking about identity. Are we together? Today we are talking about identity. So now, when Eric Erickson gets to your level, 19 to about 38 years, he says this is a time when you are looking for love. It's a time where you are looking for attachment. It is a time where if you do not find attachment, you find isolation. Why do you find isolation? You find isolation because you have not found that which you're looking for. Or it's not good enough. Nothing seems to work. Why do you go into isolation? Because sometimes you feel that you are not fitting in. I've been called in many times for young women, young girls in school who have completely gone hysterical about the fact that they do not want their school because their friends hate them. I am hated by everybody in this school. Mother, change school. Go to another one. Everybody in this school is talking about me. I don't want to be here. Another school. This school is not nice. The teachers don't like me. Now, what are we going to do? It's simple. What it is about is that this is someone that has a challenge where it involves intimacy and connections. And this is an environment where trust has been violated, and so every situation is not a trusting environment. They are afraid of connecting. They see everyone as enemies, and they are not able to make it. Now, at this stage, it's not whether or you want. I made some of you say, I'm so good about being on my own. I'm not looking for anyone. I am happy being on my own. Let me tell you, you are driving your grain. You are in the river on the opposite direction. The river is coming down, you are going up. Why? Because God created us as relational beings. We are relational by nature. We are who we are because of our genetic makeup from our parents and from God. And you know what? God's intention was that for each one of us to be able to connect with others and to be able to enjoy fellowship with Him and with other people. And of course, even in marriage, because He says it is not good for a man to be alone, and He'll give him a suitable companion, bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. And so, when you do feel that you are having a desire for connection, there is absolutely nothing wrong. It means that you have become of age. When you feel you do not want a connection, I would say check it out. Because that isolation is also as a result of some abnormality, of something that happened, of a trauma that you have not been able to deal with. Am I talking to somebody? Now, I've told you about guilt, but I'll tell you about guilt one more time. Our families of origin have every influence in our lives. And as we grew up, I told you the last time that there are certain things that happen to us as we are growing up. And some of those are some voices that we keep hearing without being told by anyone in our little ears. And even now, there are many things that I will not do, even as my mother being 6 feet under, bless her soul, I will not do because my mother will see me or my mother will not be happy. And you just know them. Those are the values, those are the culture, the tradition, the systems that are ingrained in you as you're growing up. And those voices that we keep hearing are called gremlins. And that gremlin, one of the gremlins that I carried along in my life, that my mother said to me one time, I think she was very, very angry, and simply because I decided to leave home so early and get married. And she did tell me I will amount to nothing. And I cried for many years because I carried that voice with me. And even when I tried things out, that voice used to come. You shall amount to nothing. And it's shocking how voices and things that can be said to us can have such impact and such influence in our lives. Thank God for the coaching and counseling studies that I did for many years. I've pursued learning. But I want you to know that when I set out to do my first class in counseling, and I did a certificate in counseling, I went there because I wanted to make a difference in the lives of others. I went there because I happened to be the chairperson of the counseling ministry at the church, just based on my reason, my passion. But the truth is, I was the most injured person. I needed to find a solution for Jenny. Before I find a solution for others, I went to find a solution for others. And it came out that I was the one that was really, really hurting. Why? When we did about gremlins, my God, they told us, do a gremlin assignment. Make whatever you want to make and talk to your gremlin and tell us about your gremlin. I can't believe I made a beautiful doll called Sue. Beautiful doll. That's my mama. And I said, Mama, I amounted to something. I actually amounted to, and I'm just crying. My greatest regret is my mother never lived to see me amount to something. I got married at 20, walked down the aisle. I didn't even have a university degree. But in my marriage, I've studied extensively. Why? Because I wanted to prove my mother wrong. I can amount to something. I can amount to something. My question is, are you using your voice for your benefit or for your distraction? Are you using that gremlin in your voice to lift you up to a better place or to bring you down and to die? I used that voice for too long to kill me. Every time I try to do something, useless, good for nothing. You will amount to nothing. And I took it literally and I decided I actually cannot do it. When I got my master's degree and I walked down the aisle, my children and my husband were wondering, what is wrong with mommy? I am crying as I'm walking down to get my degree. Why? I was thinking, Mom, you should be here, Mama. I can't get this one alone. My daddy is sick. He's got a stroke. He's home. He doesn't know. Can you imagine? A full-grown woman. I'm just crying for my mother. I want to say to you, your family of origin has a major influence on who you are or what you ever become. But the thing is, recognize the gremlin. Tell your neighbor, what voice comes. Because we are told voices. We are given, they mean the best. But these voices have a way of never leaving us. You want to be somebody? There's a voice telling you, useless. Who do you think you are? Can amount to nothing. Particularly when you brought the bad grades home. Wacha tu. When you bring the bad grades home, you're cooked, you're done, you're finished. You'll be told all those things. But I had a very good father. He always said to me, Jenny, as long as you've done your best, it's okay with me. And I've never forgotten. But because my mother wanted me to assert myself, she knew I was capable of doing more. She pushed me really hard. But it broke my inside. Is your inside broken? As you're searching for your identity, do you feel lost? Do you feel incapable? Do you feel incompetent? It doesn't have to be that way. Use your gremlin to the positive and to become something and shut it down. Make a doll if you have to. Make something that you look at and speak to it. Hey, I'm not what you said I am. My greatest tragedy was I left my mother and found this man that won't leave me alone either. I didn't do anything good enough. I didn't do the homework properly with the children. I didn't keep the house good enough. I didn't love good enough. I've told you many times I was told to stop loving too much. Everything I did wasn't good. By whose standards? By his standards. Jenny was gonna die. Because I came to the one person who was finally going to affirm me and make me solid. But instead, he broke me. He broke me. He didn't know he did, but the things he said to me, it took only one thing. To look at myself in the mirror and say, mirror, mirror on the wall. Even today, I love talking to myself on the mirror. You've got to look at that mirror. Even Sean does, You heard him. You've got to look at that mirror and say, nobody defines me. Nobody decides, not my mother, not my brother, not my sister, not my husband, not my friend. Because even friends can pull you down like you don't even know. Who do you think you are? And they will tell you stuff that will become the gremlins of your lives. Okay? And so, somebody else that has had a major influence in my life is called Bruce Schneider. Now, Bruce Schneider is a psychologist, a coach that has done extensive study for over 30 years, that I've had the privilege of being mentored and taught for the last 1 year. And it's been such a privilege. And according to this man, what he says is, go to the next one. What he says, according to Bruce Schneider, what he says is that energy is what it takes to shift your life from one level to another. Okay? If you want to become anybody, if you want to change the statements that you had been given, if you want to write a new story, it comes from the energy that you have. Life is all about energy. God just breathed power into you and gave you the energy to become who you choose to become. Every morning you wake up and you make a decision. Am I going to wake up? Some of you, when you're going through PMS, you actually choose to sleep the whole day. Some of you, when you're going through a bad day, mood swings, you decide, I'm shutting the door. I ain't talking to anyone today. Do you know what happens? Your energy levels are down. Your energy levels are down. Now listen to me. This one was, people say to me, Jenny, I wish I could have your energy. A grandmother is not supposed to have this level of energy sometimes that I can have. But I just don't have it. I pick it. I lift it. It's a mental thing. You've got to psych yourself. If we go by the standards of, did I really feel like being here this morning? I'm not sure. I'm just recovering from so much travel I would have done with a day of sleep. But guess what? I think JCC, energy. I've got to put on my energy. I've got to come. I've got to psych myself up. I've got to be here. And that's what life is about. People want people with energy. People want people who look and feel good. Not just about themselves, but about their environment and about others. Tell your neighbor, energy. Now, Schneider talks about 2 levels of energy. The first level of energy is catabolic energy. And the catabolic energy is negative energy. Now, the next level of energy is anabolic energy. Now, when you have catabolic energy, you feel like a victim. You are in conflict. You feel woe me. You have pity parties. You are not at the level of feeling fully engaged because your focus is at the self. Where is your focus? When you focus at the self, it is very easy to stay at your catabolic energies because many things go wrong according to your perception. For somebody else, you look all good and all together. But what is it about you that makes you feel you're not good enough? Your energy level will work for you. Now, what Schneider says is just to acknowledge when you are at level 1 energy, no, this is how I am feeling. I am in a foil mood. I feel like a victim. Nobody loves me. When I am in the second level, I am feeling combative. I am feeling angry. Now, when I come to the next level, I start feeling reasonable. I am responsible for my feelings. I move to the next level. I become a caregiver. I'm not just responsible, but I'm caring enough to understand what can I do for who is next. When you get to the 5th level, he says it's a win-win. That's when it doesn't matter to you who wins and who loses. So when you get into a fight, when you are at your catabolic level, feeling like a victim, how do you go? You never. You are just projecting everything to somebody else. And guess what? It's never about you. It's always about. But when you get to the 5th level, it's a win-win. You would say, what do you think we need to do in this situation? How would you consider going out with me? Instead of saying, you never take me out, you have been for the last 1 year, you don't do. How would you consider coming out with me tonight? Are we together? It is all about understanding the power that is within you and how to apply that power. We get caught up because within our struggling with our catabolic and anabolic energies, our gills knock in, those are the gremlins, our assumptions that because every time I have said take me out or let's do this, he has made himself busy. You are already in the assumption that it is not going to happen. Whose fault is it? Because you have come with a preconceived set of mind, isn't it? Your interpretation of things. Now, it's up to you how you want to interpret. All I need to do is look at you, and you already have made an interpretation of why are you looking at me funny? I have said nothing. Why are you looking at me funny? You don't know where I'm coming from. You don't know the experiences. You don't know anything that I have felt. You don't know anything I have gone through. And what I'm going through has nothing to do with you. But you want to interpret that it is all about you. How important can you be? That all my life it has to be you. You understand? I think our identity is something that we need to take very seriously. And in recognizing that the power is no longer with your enemies, the power is no longer with your parents, the power is not with anybody, the power is with you. And the power is with you because it has been graciously given unto you by your Maker. Are we together? So instead of obsessing on the things you cannot change, focus on what you can, your mindset, your attitude, and your energy. Are you feeling energetic? No. Are you feeling energetic? Are you excited? Are you energetic? That's more like it. Goody. So, let's keep going. So our social influences do make a real major impact in our lives. And so we need to keep asking ourselves, what corrections can I have? What difference can I make? Who do I need to involve? And I want to say this to you. In life, it is important to share some level of experience with other people who need to know they are in your life for a journey that you are making. All right? We are all very relational and we crave for these things. I have said it: affection, affirmation, and appreciation. And we are always constantly wondering, who are we? Who am I? What do I want? And you're struggling in a journey on your own. I want to say to you today, while God is your partner in life, God is very gracious. He gives us people here on earth who we can walk a journey with and who can help us truly live our life purpose in recognition of our true identity. You cannot walk a journey of life without having mentors. You need your mentors. All right? You need influencers in your life. Who's your influencer? Who are you looking up to? Even as you choose what you want to do, what's your identity about? Who do you admire? If it is that social media, as Pastor Kathy has said how you look, that is vain. You know what's vain? Those things that are just, they are fake, they are unachievable, they have no life, they are just glamour. They are what? That is not life. You need a real human being who you can touch, who you can feel, who you can call by name and say, my mentor is. Do you have a mentor? Who is your mentor? And people play many roles. Pastor Kathy is my friend and a mentor in many ways, in areas I've not conquered. When I needed to write a book, she mentored me and opened the door for how to do it. Now, that's a mentor. When I need to have excellence in the coaching field, then I look for Bruce Schneider, the one who is the international guru in those areas. As a result of Schneider, my conference calls range from north, south, east, west of the world. Coaching, name it, everywhere in the world. My mentor coaches, success coaches, everywhere in the world. You've got to tap in with the right people in your life. You've got to have the influencers that are going to move you in the direction that you need to go. These people are the ones that are going to affirm you. They are going to appreciate you, and then going to give you a level of affection. Let me put it this way, and let me be very, very plain about it. We have too much expectations from our partners. We have too much expectation from our parents. We have too much expectations from our friends. No friend, no partner, nobody will quite understand when they are too close to you. You need somebody else who does not know you, your failures, your fears, to look at them and tell them, this is my dream. And they will not look at that dream as impossible. They will be able to pick it up for you and make it a reality. You need positioners in your life. You need positioners in your life. Who's your positioner? When I recognized the value of positioners, it just happened. I didn't think very much about it, but I knew that I needed to become somebody beyond who I am. And I'm not defined by my positions. Absolutely not. With or without them, I'm Jenny. But I'm not going to make apologies for not desiring to be where I need to be. And when I have desired, I have attained. Why? Because of using a positioner. Okay? So who's your positioner? You've got to call them by name. You've got to see them in your hand. You can have 2, you can have 5, you can have 10. It's up to you. But at least have one that you can speak with and let them feel your heart and say, this is what I'm sensing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to do. And they will be able to take you in that direction. I also believe in grounders. I believe greatly in grounders. That grounders are those that even though you may think that you are in the right path, they can hold you accountable and they can let you know that you need to shift the direction that you're going, because it's not good for you. If you don't have somebody who can speak it out to you, then it doesn't work. You need to have your pastors. You need to have your coaches. You need to have your doctors. You need a list of those people in your phone book that if your friend needs to call any of them, they will know without a shadow of doubt who that person is. Now, I'm giving you knowledge. Pastor Kathy gives you knowledge all the time. You've learned all the knowledge that you have. Some of you have succeeded, some of you haven't. Some of you have excelled, some of you haven't. Knowledge and skills will be imparted to you. But if you do not have the right attitude, it will take you nowhere. And so the keys that you really need in life, as you are searching for who you are, as you are searching for your identity, is to be able to know that it's okay. Your identity continues to grow. It's not static. The fact that you came from a dysfunctional family does not keep you in a dysfunctional pot. You will continue to grow and do exploits for the Lord. So knowledge is important. When is the last time you sharpened your knowledge? My people perish for lack of knowledge. When is the last time you learned a new skill? A dull axe is hard to cut, but skill brings success. When's the last time you learned a new skill? So you got to learn. But when you learn all these things, what makes the difference? My son is a chef. If you ain't have eaten his food, you have not eaten food. My son is a chef. He loves to cook. He cooks for an average of 1,000 people every day. And let me tell you, he gets jobs and says, I can't do it. You would ask, there are so many people that can cook. What is different about the gastronome? And I will tell you what is different. When he cooks, his heart in it. His attitude is in it. His identity is stamped in it. The taste is in it. It's not just about knowledge. It's not just about skills. It's called essence. What's your essence? Terry's here. Ashley's. You love to go do your nails at Ashley's. There's so many hairdressing and beauty salons that you can go to. But when you go to Ashley's, there's something special there. You try open your Ashley's, it is not the same. Only Terry's Ashley's can be. Why? The attitude that she has carries her essence into her business. Are we together? And so you can learn all you want, but you've got to carry that attitude, that essence that just belongs to you. Many people can speak about relationships, but Pastor Kathy invites me all the time. Am I the beginning and end of knowledge? No. What is different about me? It's my essence. It's my attitude. What's yours? What is yours? What is yours? That basically, Zig Ziglar said, it is your attitude more than your aptitude that will determine your altitude. Where are you going? Wherever you are going, you will get there simply because of your essence, of your attitude, of your positivity, of what you see that you have. Am I talking to somebody? Are you excited? No. Are you excited? That's it. Do you see why we fail exams? Are you excited? Are you happy? Good. Your thoughts influence your actions in everything that you do. You've got to remember that. What's my identity, even concerning what I speak? Whatever I speak has a way of influencing who I become. And so, negative thoughts, I will just move on from that. Just get onto that beautiful picture of think positive so that it stays there, and just think positive. Whatever you do, negative thoughts are going to come. And negative thoughts are many, but you will apply your positivity as you think through that, recognizing that indeed guilt are not going to be your limitation, in recognizing that others come into our lives so that they can support us and influence us even as we want to achieve our purpose and our goals in life, but never to complete us. Not partners, not friends, not pastors, nobody. They come to complement us so that we can become who we really were born to. And the Bible is very clear that you were created in God's image, that God had a good plan for your life, to give you a future and a hope. You. And it surprises me how we always want to make it us. It's always about you, and you become the blessing for your partner and for all other people that are with you in your life. And so one of the things that I have personally learned and that have given me a lot of liberation and freedom is I keep learning that when you laugh too much, I've told you that for me, my greatest challenge is that my husband always told me to reduce my love. And really, if somebody is telling you to reduce your love, what is that saying to you? They don't really care. But I thank God for the privilege of being able to study these topics. And what I discovered, that people who laugh too much have a problem. And actually they are said to be called to have codependent relationships. So I saw myself. So if you are one that you think it's me, it is just who I am, you know me, I just laugh so much, I just love to laugh. You have a problem. And your problem is actually documented in psychology. And that problem is called codependent. And a codependent thinks and feels, I cannot live without you. I would die without you. I don't know how I can live without you. And so you become a nuisance. You become someone that is no fun to be with because you become extremely demanding. Can that change? Of course it can change. Can that be different? Of course it can be different. Why? What's your identity? I am confident in who I am. I am a child of the heavenly princess. I am created in the image of God. I am an influencer in my generation. I mean, you've got to talk to yourself. And when you talk to yourself, then you're not looking for affirmations from others because you are already talking to yourself. I am fearfully and wonderfully created in the image of God. And let me tell you, to tell you the truth, when my relationship had a turnaround is when I recognized who I am. And so I walked in style. I had a swag. I was busy. I was no longer chasing a man. I was chasing a dream. I was chasing purpose. I was chasing passion. You chase a man all your life, he ain't gonna have no respect for you. He ain't gonna have you actually have no dignity. You have no dignity when you chase a man. What happens if yours is as honest as mine? They will tell you, cut the crap. Find a life. Leave me alone. So, I want to say to you that identity is fluid. It's not static. It keeps evolving. It evolves. You are not defined by who you used to be. You are defined by who you have become. And who you become is a continual process, a daily encounter with yourself every single day. I am in pursuit of my best. I keep pursuing. And I can tell you, I have come to the realization you will never arrive. Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about actualizing. And I'm supposed to have actualized. But I have found myself pursuing every time. And so what I know, you will never arrive. You are pursuing. You are pursuing. So continue pursuing the identity that is your birthright. Continue pursuing your passion and your purpose in life. And when you do that, everything else comes added unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. It just follows you. It follows you because your identity speaks for itself. What is your identity? Your identity is what you choose for yourself today. Who you were yesterday can stay there, and you just write a new history about who you are. You believe it and walk with God. And when you do that, believe me, you get a new life. You get a new lease of life. and you continue. Continue just being energetic on a daily basis. Continue pursuing the path of passion on a daily basis. Continue seeking relationships that work. Relationships are very important. Both personal and professional relationships are very personal and are very important. To be able to achieve success in these areas, you've got to be vibrant, energetic, and you've got to bring your energetic presence into that space. And when you do that, doors are going to open, opportunities are going to open, and you will be wondering, what is it? It is simply about engaging your full energy in everything that you do. Are you energetic? I am. Are you energetic? Great. And so, as I come to an end, I want to introduce to you the people that matter most in my life. That's my family. One thing about identity, you can never run away from the identity you create in your family. It matters. You will be judged harshly by the world for whether you created a family or you didn't, unfortunately. It doesn't necessarily need to be this family that is complete. You may not have a husband. You may have children. You have gifts, and that's your family. Whatever family that God has given you, 1 child, 10 children. The picture of my grandchildren couldn't fit here. There are 9 of them. And I just wanted to be able to pass this message and let you know that family is important. Wherever you go, family is important. Never had anyone on their deathbed say, go to my bank, bring me the titles, bring me what? They always say, bring my family. Who's the closest person to you? Even as you seek your identity, who is the closest person to you? And I want to say this. Don't sweat the small stuff. Sometimes we spend life sweating on the small stuff. If I look back, when these children visit, it's like a Sunday school or kindergarten in my house. I look at my children, all in their homes, and I ask myself, Jenny, what would have happened if you quit on this marriage? And I just want to let you know, marriage is not really the place to find happiness. It's the place that happiness finds you. So when you go to the marriage to find happiness, you have dialed the wrong number. But when you are in the marriage, happiness has a way of finding you there. And listen to me good. When happiness finds you there, you find a new name. You find a new identity. And you find an inner peace in the midst of the storm. You find sanity. And you look back and you ask, how did I make it this far? Only the Lord would have done this. But the truth be told, you've got to understand only one thing that I learned, that I don't wish anyone to make this mistake. I thought compromise was the greatest gift I could give to a relationship. Compromise. I finally discovered it is your greatest enemy. Compromise. the more you compromise in your marriage, the more miserable you become. Because you sit back and you say, I have compromised, I sacrificed everything for you, and you have done nothing. My last word for you: find mutuality in your relationships. Drop compromise, because compromise has expectations. The more you compromise, the more you want your turn too. I gave you my compromise. I gave you everything. It's now my time to receive. Find a place of mutuality. And that is the end of my sermon.